G'day, my name's Brian Medway, and I'm just going to move over here to be out of the way a bit. But this is the third of a series of little video clips just telling the Crosslink Christian Network story. Not so much from the point of view of, our structures and our organisation and all those things. They're all important. But basically our prophetic journey, or at least I've called this Crosslink a prophetic tool, or a tool for a prophetic journey. And that's the journey we've been on, basically because, we didn't start out of, as I've said before, we didn't start out of some massive thing happening. Probably if there was something that contributed was the charismatic renewal and what that sort of stirred up inside of many people like me and churches like ours who embraced the Holy Spirit thing, in the way that the Pentecostal churches had done and so forth, but also with a evangelical background and so forth. And so it wasn't so much something amazing that happened through a person. And so, we're called the Lutheran Church because Martin Luther was our hero, or he did something amazing and wonderful, or the Wesleyan Church because Wesley was wonderful. This is more or less a journey, and it's actually the shape of the journey or the direction of the journey is all about our destination, not our beginning. And so that's why, for us to go on that journey at the beginning, the prophetic word that I spoke about last time about God calling us not to follow Jonathan was about leaving all the battles that we'd been fighting over a long time that didn't really matter to us and going and immersing ourselves, or going and putting ourselves into the battles that mattered. That is the ones that accomplish the progress of the gospel and discipling and multiplying disciples and churches. So that was the journey we were on, and we didn't know how to do that. It's just that we simply were not willing to sacrifice what we knew had yet to be accomplished. And so there's I'll put a picture on here that I put on the other video, and it is, the picture is, let me see where it is now. This is a mountain called Gangar Puesum, and it's in Bhutan, and it is the highest unscaled peak in that range. Now the Bhutan government has stopped people from climbing higher than 6,000 meters, and so this, the way it is at the moment, will not be climbed at the moment. But I'm thinking about an unclimbed mountain because that's going to come up in one of the upcoming videos in this series. But see, the thing was that because we didn't start from the top of a mountain, we didn't start from some amazing encounter with a burning bush, etc. We started with renewed experiences of Jesus through the Holy Spirit, and we started with an understanding that there were things that were unfulfilled, not yet to be fulfilled. We felt that we were being equipped in order to complete the task, and so that's how we felt about it. And so when the resistance happened, when we decided to go on the journey or continue on the journey rather than be held back, and that was a simple decision well, at least it was for me, and many others. And so Crosslink formed around that, but we realised that we were heading for something that had not been climbed. And at the beginning of our journey, it was mainly a Uniting Church Old Boys Club, small group of churches, maybe 5 or 10 or a dozen. And most of them were people who'd made expensive decisions, expensive in terms of their own financial security, expensive in terms of their resources, and expensive in terms of their reputation. And so they'd walked out, and congregations had split, and things like that happened. And on some occasions, the denominational leaders were naughty. They were badly behaved. and sometimes the people getting out were badly behaved as well. But all I'm saying is that it was not a nice experience for many people. And there was this idea that when we got out, getting out was going to make everything work. And it was like getting out of the boat, getting out of the Navy ship in the Dardanelles, getting into a boat that was being rowed and clambering onto the shores of Gallipoli. It was like that. The battle didn't go away. The difficulties and challenges didn't go away. And a lot of people felt really disheartened or disenchanted. They thought getting out was they were following God, and here they were in, a smaller group of people struggling away in many ways to make ends meet and do all kinds of things. So, and with all the securities that a denomination provides all gone, and many of them suffered badly through that. So our first meetings were meetings of just helping people to survive, and we basically went down to Port Arlington twice a year, and we just worshipped and prayed and shared with each other, and worshipped and prayed and shared with each other, and kept on crying out to God to know what to do. And out of that, Crosslink was formed, and we just simply agreed to move ahead. But it became a bit of a pity party in some respects, and that doesn't do justice to it entirely. But I can remember coming back from one of those meetings and saying to Nola, I don't think I can go again, because for me, I want to get on with the job. I just want to move ahead, and whatever happened. I mean, things happened to me as well when we got out of the Uniting Church. I was known in Canberra as the sect leader, and I was somebody gave money to a lawyer to try and sue me for libel. That's something that I hadn't said, but anyway, all those things happened. And the bishop, local Anglican bishop, he wrote a letter to everybody saying don't have anything to do with Brian Medway because he's schismatic. And all those things, happened. And I spent a lot of time trying to patch relationships and heal relationships and explain, why we took the decision and all that kind of stuff. But the important thing was that we had to go on a journey, and the journey was to go after the things that we'd never seen accomplished, the things that were yet to be fulfilled. And so after a few years, we were meeting down in the German Harmony Club down in Narrabundah. And it was a great time because a guy called R.T. Kendall was there that year. He's a great bloke. We loved him very much. He preached great messages, and and was very encouraging. But at the meeting, the leaders' meeting beforehand, we received a prophetic word at that meeting, and I can't even remember who brought it. But the prophetic word was that God said we're not to be a car parking station. Now, a car parking station, like a multi-story car parking station, is where you drive in, you pay some money, you put your car there, drive it up a few floors, and hopefully, you don't get your hubcaps. I'm old enough to remember hubcaps. Your hubcaps removed or whatever else. You don't get your wheels pinched. You don't get your car stolen. It's safe in there. So, we were not meant to be a car parking station. We were meant to go and construct or build a roadway, build a track. At the time, everyone assumed the roadway was a multi-lane freeway that just moved along and you could go as fast as you wanted. But I think in retrospect, looking back on our journey, it was much more like cutting a track through a forest. So we took the road less travelled and just simply set off. And in that time, I asked God personally, because after that prophetic word came, I thought, well, what kind of a roadway is this that we're supposed to build? And so I prayed for three months or so, sought God, walked up the top of my mountain and walked back down again, and cried out to God. And what God spoke to me about was 4 things. And I asked God a question. I said, what are the things that in 2,000 years have never been fulfilled? Some things have been partially fulfilled, but not completely fulfilled. What are the things that have never been fulfilled? And And God told me 4 things. At least this is how I understood it. The first thing was that the world had never seen holiness. That is, holiness that looked like Jesus. A church looking, sounding, feeling, and being impacted like by people who bring the presence of Jesus. That kind of holiness. The kind of holiness in 1 Peter, be holy as I am holy. That's what it says. Well, if Jesus was holy, he was the holiest person, but he loved hanging out with sinners. And sinners were sinners, but they loved hanging out with the holy person. So whatever his holiness was, it made sinners feel attracted to him, and it was the thing that attracted him to sinners. And so we tried to figure out what kind of holiness that was, and it wasn't much of the holiness that the holiness movements of the past, God bless them, their commitment. So it was holiness. The second thing was oneness, unity. John 17, 21 to 23, that they may become one even as I and the Father are one, that the world may know, because of their unity, because of their collaboration, because of their relationships. And we'd all been to carols, at Christmas time and different things that we'd done together, but none of us had really experienced the unity of the relationship between the Father, that they may be one even as, those are the most 2 words, even as. The model is the relationship between the Father and the Son. And so we thought, well, we've got to go and make a track, get to that destination. These are like coordinates. You're flying a plane to a set of coordinates, longitude and latitude. The third one was fullness, holiness, oneness, fullness. Fullness was Ephesians 4. God gave apostles, prophets, evangelists, pastors and teachers for the equipping of saints for the work of ministry. So that when the saints are equipped by apostles, prophets, evangelists, pastors and teachers, then they work together and the community gets to see the fullness of Christ. The fullness of Christ is the outcome. The process is equipped saints doing the work of ministry. So, we thought we'd try and figure out what that meant. And the last one was completion. Every person getting to hear, see, feel, and experience the gospel so they have a chance to respond in any community, any place, anywhere, every place, everywhere. And so they were the 4 things. And so we set off to do that. And then the funny thing was, it ended up being, we had a dust up in the network and some people left, and I can't imagine why people would leave over a group of people trying to pursue holiness, oneness, fullness and completion, but there you go. Anyway, so we continued on, and that's been the way we've gone. So we're trying to build a track. This is a journey that we're on, and so the thing about a journey is, if I'm journeying to Sydney, and I go up past Lake George, and I go past Goulburn, and I go past Mittagong, I go past Campbelltown, and when I get to those places, I know I've come a certain way, but I'm still not at my destination. And so I think many of the churches that we've produced over the years have they've started on the journey. They've gained some success. It's like if you're travelling from Melbourne to Sydney, you got to Albury. You've got a testimony of how far you've come. You're called to be in Sydney, but Albury seems really good. And you can brag about how far you've come. And so you just try to reproduce Albury. That is, reproduce how far we've come, rather than go after what we've never had. And we've never had holiness like that. We've never had oneness like that. We've never had fullness like that. We've never had completion like that. So that's the sort of thing that gets us excited. So we're on a prophetic journey. We're a tool. We're a bulldozer, cutting our way through the scrub, or with machetes probably, a machete and a mattock and a shovel, trying to build a track. And we want to go do that. So I'll talk a bit more about it in these next videos. But God bless you.